Good morning, everyone. Today we're coming at you from the Adirondack Mountains and the Lake George area of upstate New York at a theme park I haven't been to in about 20 years or so, and that is the Great Escape. You can see the Steamin' Demon, the classic arrow looping roller coaster right there. I go by the legend. That is my wonderful girlfriend Molly. You've never been here.
I've never been here.
So in this video here, we're going to show you all around the park, all the rides and offerings it has. A little bit of nostalgia for me, new stuff for you. Let's go check things out. There's no better place to kick off the tour of the Great Escape than at the Comet, probably the park's most famous roller coaster. As you can see it going there. Famously opened back in 1927 as the Crystal Beach Cyclone. Then they sort of took that down in the 40s to build the Comet, so it was sort of built out of the bones of that ride. And then it was moved to Lake George here from Crystal Beach in about, let's say the 90s. And it's running pretty good. Just got a front seat ride. You got a little bit of airtime, not much airtime, but the ride is running pretty smooth, especially for a ride that is that old. They take some pretty good care of it. And also the views you get from the drop of the surrounding Adirondack Mountains, man, it is really cool. So, well, not a roller coaster that, you know, I would put in my top 50 wooden roller coasters, still pretty solid. Now, I think for me, the most nauseating ride in the entire park is the Extreme Supernova, which is this pendulum-style spinning ride. Now, this is kind of in a weird section of the park. It's like you have to walk through the water park to get back to this and the Comet wooden roller coaster. But it is it's pretty interesting. I guess I thought it went all the way around. I guess it doesn't go all the way around. So I'd probably go on this. This red roller coaster here's the park's mine train, known as Canyon Blaster. It's a decent ride. It makes sense that this park would have, you know, kind of a selection of nice family rides.
Yes.
It does run a little old, a little bit bumpy in some parts. Actually, interesting history on this ride. This ride was relocated from the closed Opryland USA amusement park in Nashville. Also, it's very interesting as they painted part of the ride, but only a tiny portion of the ride. As you see, like old paint, beautiful new paint. Kind of a weird finale too, with like 2.5 helixes, but decent attraction. Also some like theming elements and stuff like that.
I like the theming.
Yeah, like there's a horse.
Small, but
yeah, I believe you could see the park's old train ride that used to be here in Ghost Town. There's now theming over there. Here we are at a.d.k. Outlaw, the park's brand new ride. It was originally a new for 2020 ride, delayed due to the ongoing global health situation. But now it is, looks like it's gonna open in just a couple weeks. It was testing earlier. It's about 160 feet tall. I'm excited for a ride like this. Normally these rides are upcharge attractions and you only have like 2 people on it. Here you have 8 people at a time, so the capacity is not gonna be great. When this does open, I recommend coming here right away at park open. But what I'm excited for is this being 160 feet in the air, the views you're gonna get of the surrounding mountains is going to be just outstanding from this thing. And to go on one of these rides without paying an upcharge is also a big plus. The tallest ride in the park here is Sasquatch, 192 foot tall, and it's a shoot 'em up tower, so you wait down there and then you get blasted up. The good, amazing views, because you are in the Adirondack Mountains here, so you can just see the mountains and for miles. Really, really great views. Con, it is one of the weaker drop towers I have ever been on.
there's no balance.
There's no balance, no airtime. It really does feel like kind of an observation tower.
And it's odd because it has 2 restraints.
Yeah, it's got a seatbelt that goes across your waist and then one that hooks onto your restraint. Right near the front of the park is Thunder Alley, which is the park's antique auto ride with little 50s themed hot rods. And they're pretty adorable little cars. Very similar to like what they have at Dollywood. The antique auto ride does have a throwback here to Storytown USA, the park's original name. And for some reason, a phone booth. I guess that would make sense for the 50s areas. Yeah. One of the more unique flat rides here is the Blizzard. Housed inside this igloo here, it is an indoor scrambler with some theatrical lighting. That's pretty neat. Now something we'll be visiting today is Hurricane Harbor, which is the Great Escape's water park. Kind of split up into 2 halves, but I mean, like, look at all those slides over there. That is a ton of water slides. They got a wave pool, lazy river, tornado, bowl slide. They got a pretty good selection of slides here. This roller coaster here is Flashback. It's a Vekoma boomerang. And if you watched one of my videos before, you know these are not my personal favorite rides. You get dragged out of the station backwards, then you go through that cobra roll there. through this vertical loop, and then you go up a spike before you do the whole thing in reverse. These are not my favorite rides. They're kind of nauseating to me, and they could be headbanging depending on how well they're maintained. We get ready to see them go backwards, and there they go. There they go. And making noise over here is the park's Larson Looper, known, I believe it's called Greased Lightning here. I do like the fire on top. You kind of got the hot rod theme if you look at the lead car. Another one, they put two of the park's most nauseating rides back to back over here. Here you can see the flying trapeze, definitely an older looking yo-yo style swing ride, but those were a good time. The park's got a classic Himalaya with the classic ride-up, raising the ruckus. This one hurts, Molly.
Yeah.
The Alpine bobsled roller coaster is closed. Now I have heard this is closed a lot, but it's a bummer because there's only, I think, 3 bobsled roller coasters left in the country.
They're very unique and different.
Yeah. So unfortunately, closed for our visit. Also, when you're talking about closed, I believe the Ferris wheel is permanently closed, and the Ferris wheel is pretty old. You can look at, if you look in the middle, that is the old logo before this park was a Six Flags. So that's how old this Ferris wheel is. I do want to mention the Alpine bobsled. Tremendous signage. The Great Escape's home to what has to be the world's slowest Skyride. It took about 20 minutes, moving promptly at the speed of smell. Look at this wonderful carousel. Some cool other animals on there as well. There's a big lion, zebra, a dragon, a cat eating a fish, and I will say the landscaping of this park is really nice as well. Very well kept. In the Ghost Town section, you do have bumper cars. Looks like they just came to a stop. Now, that is a billboard for the Great Escape, but coming out of it is a log flume ride called the Desperado Plunge. It's in the Old West section of the park, and it does have some sort of like limited animatronic type figures in that section. Didn't get to go on it today. You can see it dropping down now, but they've been having some technical problems, and it was some maintenance issues, and then it was hot and the line was long. But fun log flume. These guests here are getting ready to go on the Roaring Rapids river raft adventure. Looks like there's no line either. And if I didn't have In the Loop the camera on me, I would definitely be getting on because it's quite a warm day. With construction right nearby for the a.d.k. Outlaw, the park's condor is closed. But I'm happy. You know, I thought that this ride might be like permanently closed when I heard they were building that right nearby. But looks like it's probably going to reopen. And these rides are fun. You're riding these little condor type cars and spin around up in the air. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the swan boats have not run in quite some time. Still listed on the park's website though. In the front of the park, they do have a train that sort of takes you around. I don't think it's operating today as I haven't seen it. So the Great Escape began life as, I believe, Storybook USA or Storytown Village, something like that. So throughout the park, you're going to have a lot of these little adorable houses that kids could go on and explore, whether that be the baker, the cobbler, you know, a small pumpkin, things like that. So it has a charm level that some Six Flags don't have. Kids, or my mom who's in her 60s, also enjoy exploring these things. This is the Jack of the Beanstalk house. So I like these Bavarian bears drinking their fair share of beers, and they're right by the entrance to the Alice in Wonderland walkthrough experience. Let's go see this. All right, and down the rabbit hole we go. Oh, and definitely have to do a little bit of crawling in here. And here you are, you're now tiny.
Oh!
It's very pleasant.
Yeah! I did not expect that.
So once you come out of the house, you do have some of the characters from the film in a woodsy type area. Oh, there's her face as I have to go on this side apparently. Yep. And there it is. She's very surprised. She exploded the size of the house. In this tree here, you do have the Cheshire Cat. And in this tree over here, you've got just his smile. Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here. And then look at the caterpillar. One of the more charming parts of the park over here, Cinderella's Castle and a fountain and the pumpkin coach. Now I believe back during more of the Storytown days, this was pulled by like a horse and you could go into it. So the whale over here, the big pink whale, they made a couple of, I think it was like 5 or 10 years ago, they made a big deal about bringing back the pink whale and painting it and making it spurt water out of its mouth. It looks good. The Great Escape does have some charm to it. There's tons and tons of these Storytown type buildings for, if you have a certain age little kids, they would just have a blast. But one bummer, obviously I have not been here in many of years, but one of the things I did remember that was to get to Ghost Town, the Wild West Frontierland section, you could go through the cave, but that's all blocked off. We're now in Timbertown, which is the park's kids area. Kind of a national park kind of feel. Lots of little kids rides. The frog hopper. Kind of interesting that it doesn't have a Looney Tunes theme like a lot of the Six Flags do. And you do have some of the houses and stuff over here as well. Sometimes you got to enjoy the corporate sponsorship of Six Flags, like the M&M Bridge, which is right next to an ADA compliant bridge, because I'm guessing this one probably wasn't. We're now in the Bavarian Fest section of the park, including a lion who's drinking some Hofbrauhaus.
With his tongue out.
Yeah. You can also see one of the park's newer rides over here. That is Pandemonium, a wild looking spinning flat ride. Molly, this doesn't look like it would be for you.
Nope, not doing that.
You probably do this one though.
No, I would do that.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. So if you haven't been on one of these before, you get to control the paddle and sort of go weave in and out. So Wiggles World is dead and gone, but they still got the bench. All right, Molly, this is kind of fascinating.
Yes.
The balloon flight ride is now a picnicky seating area.
Yeah, the buckets got taken away and put tables there instead.
Also, if I turn around, you do have a convoy-style kids ride. Hey, Molly and two grizzly bears, what time is it?
Beer 30?
Beer 30 indeed.
Looking like these guys?
Yeah. They have a little bar here by the Fest House, and we're actually drinking a local beer from Adirondack Brewery right here in Lake George. It's a bright blonde ale. It's pretty good.
It's also not your traditional Six Flags cup.
I think it's bigger.
It is?
Back in Ghost Town, in that big warehousey building, that used to be home to the Nightmare at Crack Axle Canyon, which was an indoor roller coaster. And that was a coaster that moved a lot. It was a Great Escape. I think it was a Kentucky Kingdom. I think it was a Darien Lake. And I believe they use that building for Haunt now. The International Village entrance area to the park does have a good amount of charm to it. A little weird they're playing like modern music though. So at the Great Escape, you do exit through the gift shop, and I love this. I wasn't expecting this. They have some really good throwback merchandise. Like, look at this Storytown USA, kind of like a wood sign thing for. I mean, it's not cheap. It's $130, but like, really cool. And then they have one over here for the swan boats, and then a more modern one, showing off all of the park. That's some really solid merchandise for Six Flags. Some pretty fun merchandise here. You got a Great Escape one done up in flannel, which fits the area very well. And then kind of what looks like a moonshine glass. And that is all for our time at the Great Escape theme park. I have been there before, but it's been a very long time. Molly, you've never been there before. What were your thoughts?
It is very quaint little place.
And kind of quirky.
It is very quirky. I'm not sure if it's a full day park if you don't go to the water park.
No, not at all. But also a very inexpensive park. It only costs to buy a one-day ticket $25. So that it's pretty cheap. And like as far as value goes, like that amusement park plus that water park for $25 is a really good deal.
Yes, I agree.
I would say none of the rides are really kind of standout attractions. I would say the Comet is probably my favorite ride in the park. And I like the looks of the new super flat ride, that a.d.k. Outlaw. I think that's going to be really awesome. And I like the quirkiness and the quaintness of the park, having some of that Storytown USA elements to it. Makes it different than any of the other Six Flags.
Yes, very, very different from normal Six Flags.
Park could definitely use some TLC in some places, some touching up. But overall, I had a pretty good time. Not something I would probably rush on a flight to get out to, but if you happen to be in the area, I would definitely check it out. If you have any questions or comments about The Great Escape, let us know in the comment section below, and thank you very much for watching this video.